Question 1. A large enterprise has multiple AWS accounts managed via AWS organizations. Each account is used by different teams for separate workloads. The company wants centralized access control while enforcing least privilege. Developers should access resources across accounts without maintaining separate IAM users in each account. Which is the best approach? Options: A. Create IAM users in each AWS account and assign custom policies. B. Use IAM Identity Center, AWS SSO, with organizations and assign permissions centrally. C. Set up IAM roles with cross-account access and share credentials via Secrets Manager. D. Use AWS VPN to connect all accounts and allow access via on-prem Active Directory. Correct answer: B. Use IAM Identity Center, AWS SSO, with organizations and assign permissions centrally. Explanation: IAM Identity Center, AWS SSO, allows centralized authentication for multiple AWS accounts. Integrates with on-prem Active Directory and supports MFA for added security. Users don't need to create separate IAM credentials per account. Why not other options? Option A. Managing IAM users separately in each account increases administrative overhead. Option C. Cross-account IAM roles work, but managing secrets via Secrets Manager is unnecessary. Option D. AWS VPN is for networking, not identity and access management. Question 2. A hedge fund runs complex Monte Carlo simulations requiring high compute power. Jobs run for hours to days and require high-speed network communication. The solution should scale dynamically to meet computational demand. Cost optimization is a priority since simulations are not continuous. Which AWS service provides the best solution? Options: A. Use EC2 spot instances with auto-scaling and elastic fabric adapter, EFA. B. Deploy simulations on AWS Lambda for auto-scaling and cost savings. C. Use AWS Fargate with a managed containerized workload. D. Run instances on Amazon Lightsail to reduce costs. Correct answer: A. Use EC2 spot instances with auto-scaling and elastic fabric adapter, EFA. Explanation: EC2 spot instances provide cost-effective compute power for batch workloads. Elastic fabric adapter, EFA, enables low-latency, high-bandwidth communication between compute nodes. Auto-scaling ensures dynamic resource provisioning. Why not other options? Option B. Lambda has execution time limits, 15 minutes, and isn't designed for long-running jobs. Option C. Fargate is designed for microservices, not high-performance computing, HPC. Option D. Lightsail is for simple workloads, not high-compute financial modeling. Question 3. A global e-commerce company hosts its web application in S East 1 and requires a disaster recovery, DR, plan. The company must minimize downtime in case of region failure. Cost efficiency is a concern, but quick failover is a priority. The backend runs on RDS, MySQL, and the frontend is hosted on EC2 with auto-scaling. Which DR strategy is most suitable? Options: A. Backup and restore, periodically backup RDS and restore it in a secondary region when needed. B. Pilot light, maintain a small instance in the secondary region and scale up during failover. C. Warm standby, keep a scaled-down version of the entire stack in another region. D. Multi-active deployment, deploy the application fully in multiple regions with active traffic distribution. Correct answer: C. Warm standby, keep a scaled-down version of the entire stack in another region. Explanation: warm standby minimizes downtime by keeping a partially active infrastructure in another region. RDS read replicas in another region allow near-instant failover to minimize data loss. Auto-scaling launches additional instances only when failover is triggered. Why not other options? Option A. Backup and restore has long recovery times and data loss risk. Option B. Pilot light is useful, but RDS failover isn't instantaneous. Option D. Multi-active deployment is highly available, but very costly. Question 4. A banking company has an on-premises data center but wants to extend to AWS for scalability. AWS resources must securely communicate with on-premise workloads. High network reliability and low latency are required. Traffic cost optimization is essential. Which connectivity method is best? Options: A. Use AWS Direct Connect with VPN as backup. B. Use AWS Transit Gateway for all hybrid connectivity. C. Use site-to-site VPN only to establish connectivity. D. Use VPC peering to connect AWS and on-premises networks. Correct answer: A. Use AWS Direct Connect with VPN as backup. Explanation: Direct Connect provides a dedicated private link with low latency. VPN backup ensures failover connectivity if Direct Connect fails. Optimized for banking applications that require predictable performance. Why not other options? Option B. Transit Gateway is for VPC to VPC communication, not on-prem to AWS. Option C. Site-to-site VPN has higher latency and is less reliable. Option D. VPC peering is for AWS-only connectivity, not hybrid networking. Question 5. A marketing analytics company processes terabytes of data daily. Data is stored long-term and queried infrequently. The company wants to minimize storage and query costs. Analytics teams run ad hoc SQL queries. Which AWS services should be used? Options: A. Store data in Amazon S3, Parquet format, and query with Amazon Athena. B. Store data in Amazon RDS MySQL and use EC2 for running SQL queries. C. Use Amazon Redshift as the primary data warehouse. D. Store raw data in EBS volumes and query using self-managed PostgreSQL. Correct answer: A. Store data in Amazon S3, Parquet format, and query with Amazon Athena. Explanation: S3 provides highly cost-effective long-term storage. Parquet format optimizes query performance and reduces costs. Athena allows serverless querying, eliminating the need for expensive databases. Why not other options? Option B. RDS is expensive for big data storage. Option C. Redshift is suitable for structured data, but costlier than S3 plus Athena for ad hoc queries. Option D. EBS isn't designed for massive scale data lakes. Question 6. A SaaS startup is building a multi-tenant web application that exposes REST APIs. Each customer, tenant, has a unique API key for authentication. APIs must scale automatically based on demand. Some tenants require additional security measures like OAuth or IAM-based access. The solution should be cost-effective and easy to manage. Which AWS service is the best choice for API management? Options: A. Deploy APIs on EC2 instances and manage authentication manually. B. Use AWS API Gateway with Lambda authorizers for authentication. C. Use Elastic Load Balancer, ALB, with auto-scaling groups for API management. D. Use Amazon S3 to store API responses and serve them with CloudFront. Correct answer: B. Use AWS API Gateway with Lambda authorizers for authentication. Explanation: API Gateway scales automatically to handle high loads. Lambda authorizers allow custom authentication, API key validation, OAuth, or IAM-based auth. Cost-effective because you only pay for API requests. Integrated with CloudWatch for monitoring API usage and security threats. Why not other options? Option A. Managing authentication manually on EC2 is complex, expensive, and doesn't auto-scale easily. Option C. ALB is great for load balancing web traffic but doesn't provide API authentication, rate limiting, or caching natively. Option D. S3 plus CloudFront is good for static content, but it cannot process API requests dynamically. Question 7. A financial firm must store customer data in multiple AWS regions for regulatory compliance. The data is infrequently accessed, but must be replicated across regions. Storage costs should be minimized while ensuring data integrity. Data must be encrypted at rest and in transit. Which AWS solution is the most cost-effective? Options: A. Store data in Amazon S3 standard and enable cross-region replication, CRR. B. Use Amazon EFS with AWS backup to replicate data across regions. C. Use Amazon S3 Glacier Deep Archive with lifecycle policies to replicate data. D. Store data in Amazon RDS with read replicas in another region. Correct answer: A. Store data in Amazon S3 standard and enable cross-region replication, CRR. Explanation: S3 CRR automatically replicates data across regions while maintaining encryption. Lower cost than EFS and RDS for bulk data storage. Allows lifecycle policies to transition data to Glacier for cost savings. Why not other options? Option B. EFS is expensive for infrequently accessed data and is not optimized for long-term compliance storage. Option C. Glacier Deep Archive is the cheapest storage, but it doesn't support CRR replication. Option D. RDS replication is for structured databases, not for bulk file storage. Question 8. A gaming company runs multiplayer game servers on AWS. Game state, session data, must persist across reboots. Traffic fluctuates during peak gaming hours. Auto-scaling must be supported while maintaining session persistence. Which is the best AWS solution? Options: A. Use EC2 auto-scaling with Amazon FSx for Windows File Server for shared storage. B. Use AWS Lambda to handle game state persistence. C. Use Amazon RDS with multi-AZ failover to store session state. D. Use Amazon S3 for game session persistence and CloudFront for faster access. Correct answer: A. Use EC2 auto-scaling with Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. Explanation: EC2 auto-scaling handles fluctuating traffic by adding/removing game servers dynamically. FSx provides shared storage for session state so that instances can access the same game data. Why not other options? Option B. Lambda is serverless and has a 15-minute execution limit, not ideal for game servers. Option C. RDS doesn't work well for storing transient session data, stateful game sessions need fast I/O. Option D. S3 isn't designed for high-speed session storage, latency would be high for real-time games. Question 9. A data science team deploys a machine learning model that requires GPU instances. The model is used occasionally for inference. It must scale on demand while keeping costs low. Which AWS solution is most cost-effective? Options: A. Use Amazon SageMaker endpoint with auto-scaling. B. Use EC2 P4 GPU instances with an ALB to distribute traffic. C. Use AWS Lambda for serverless inference. D. Use ECS with GPU-based Fargate tasks for inference. Correct answer: A. Use Amazon SageMaker endpoint with auto-scaling. Explanation: SageMaker automatically scales inference instances based on requests. You only pay for inference time, reducing idle GPU costs. Why not other options? Option B. Running EC2 GPU instances continuously is expensive. Option C. Lambda doesn't support GPU-based workloads. Option D. Fargate doesn't support GPU-based inference. Question 10. A retail company runs an e-commerce website on AWS. The database stores sensitive customer data. The website must prevent SQL injection attacks. Only authorized applications should access the database. Which AWS solution is best? Options: A. Use Amazon RDS with security groups and IAM authentication. B. Enable AWS WAF with SQL injection protection. C. Deploy an EC2-based firewall to filter SQL requests. D. Store data in Amazon S3 instead of RDS to avoid SQL injection risks. Correct answer: B. Enable AWS WAF with SQL injection protection. Explanation: AWS WAF filters malicious SQL queries before they reach the database. Protects web applications without modifying backend logic. Why not other options? Option A. IAM authentication is useful, but it doesn't stop SQL injection at the network layer. Option C. Using EC2 as a firewall is unnecessary and difficult to manage. Option D. S3 is not designed for transactional database storage.